Welcome back to another My Chip carving lesson. In our last lesson I showed you how to lay out the design on this number 0 goose egg. And in this lesson we're going to carve that design. First thing you want to be aware of and take notice of is safety when you're carving a small object like this. You can see that I'm carving it just holding it in my hand, and I feel comfortable with this. If you don't feel comfortable holding the egg like this and carving it, by all means don't do it. Don't want anyone out there to cut themselves. If you don't want to hold it in your hand, you'll have to find some way to clamp the egg so that you can hold it stationary while you make your chips. Now notice how I can do this safely. I can hold it in my hand, but notice that the knife blade and my thumb never leave the surface of the egg. So I can make these cuts, and with my thumb always in contact with the surface of the egg, I'll never run the risk of cutting myself. So you can see I'm working my way around the egg, chip by chip, and it's really quite fun. See the chips I'm making? It's forming a very nice looking pattern. And here's how it's done. You've watched me do it now. Just make a few more so you can see I start shallow up at the top. There's the deepest part of the chip, and then draw the blade out right to that point. Start here very shallow. There's the deep part, and draw your knife out to the end. Notice I'm carving away from my previous chips on those first cuts. Shallow to deep to shallow, and just the opposite, from shallow to deep, and draw the knife out to the end. Then I like to take this cut right here next and finish it up by putting my knife point right down in the bottom of the chip, right where they meet, and drawing it out to the end. Repeat that process on this side. This will remove a large portion of the chip, and then put your point right in the bottom and draw it out to complete that chip. Let's do one more. These eggs are a lot of fun to carve. Now with this design, I also want to use the flip-flop motion to create the flower-like shape on this inner diamond section. You can review the flip-flop, but you can see it's very easy. From first position with the knife to second position, I would work my way all the way around the egg, rotate, and flip-flop, rotate it again, and same thing all the way around those diamond shapes. I'm just doing a couple here for you so you can see that I would do this all the way around the egg with the same cut time after time again. For economy of movement, it helps me form uniform angles on all those flip-flops. You can see I just repeated the flip-flop motion all the way around the outside of the egg. So now those diamonds are dressed up a little bit on the inside. All that's left to carve on the design that I've laid out here are these straight lines on the top and the bottom of the design. To do that, use the same procedure for chip carving a straight line. I'm going to carve away from my previous chips. So I'm going to start on the inside of this line right here. And as I work my way around, I'm just going to roll the egg in the palm of my hand. Keeping my thumb in contact with the egg so I don't risk cutting myself. Notice the angle of my knife remains the same throughout the entire cut. Rotate your egg and do the other side of the line. Remember, look ahead of your knife blade when you're cutting straight lines. Your eye will direct your hand so that you get a nice straight cut. There's one of the lines carved on the top of the egg. Now I'll rotate my egg and carve the bottom line. Again, I'm going to carve away from my previous chips first. And there you have it. This egg is done. Chip carving. I could add more design if I wanted to, but one principle I like to follow is not to over-carve any object. I think this egg has enough chips taken out of it, and I don't want to over-carve it. We'll talk about this more in upcoming lessons, but for now this one's done. I'm going to go around and do any touch-up that needs to be done, lightly erase the lines, and put a finish on it. When erasing lines like these that are found on this number 0 goose egg, from the design that we just chip carved, I like to start with the Tombow ink eraser for the larger sections where you want to quickly remove any of the pencil marks that are left over. So I'd start with the Tombow, and then after I have all those removed, I would use the ink pencil eraser for these small pencil lines that are left in the diamond flip-flop section that we were carving. There'll still be some pencil lines in there, and the ink pencil eraser, it gets right into the small sections. You don't have to worry about chipping out any of the sections left on your diamond. So this works real nicely for delicate erasing in small areas. There's an unlimited possible number of designs you can make in carving eggs, so I encourage you to explore many possibilities and give it a try. It's really a lot of fun.